Hi. Recently, I was at a conference where there was a presentation about the neo-feudalism concept, and it really blew my mind. This is a way to see what's happening today in on the internet, basically. And the theory goes that we are kind of recreating the same dynamics which we lived in the feudalism. And let's simply explain it with this parallelism. So, in the feudalism, you had a king, and the king owned all the land. So there were no land titles. The king owned the land. Then the king split the land in pieces, and it gave it to lords. And then lords would give, they needed somebody to work this land, and they gave it to the serfs. The serfs didn't have any rights. They just had to work the land, give a piece of it to the lord, and just hope that the lord wouldn't take it away from them, or the king wouldn't pass on his horse and say, I don't, you looked at the queen in the wrong way, go away from my land. So basically the serfs were completely dependent on the will of the lords or the king, right? Then we grew out of this. We decided that it's much better for societies to have the rule of law. And so if you want to work some land, you can buy it or lease it, and there's a contract. The rule of law means it's not the king deciding anything, it's the law. Okay? That's where we live in today. But now we have a new land. It's all the digital land, right? It's happened pretty fast. In the last 25 years, we passed from everything was offline to half of our lives is online. So where is the parallelism? If you see the investors as the kings, the investors invest in startups, in platforms, basically like Amazon, Google, Airbnb, Booking, Netflix, and so on. And the lords are the entrepreneurs. So in our case, let's see Airbnb, which comes out of Silicon Valley. The kings gave money to the entrepreneurs, the lords, who built platforms. And you know where this is going. The serfs are the hosts. I know this is pretty dark and it may be pushing it a little bit too much, but what happened to me is that I cannot get out of this view now. It just makes sense. And hosts are serfs because they do not own the land they're working. Now, think about the platforming. Think about this letter which arrives sometimes to very few hosts, of course, which says, from Airbnb, which says, okay, we decided to close your account. Your bookings are canceled. You cannot access your account anymore. Your listings are gone. Your account is gone. Your reviews are gone. Don't ask us why. We don't have to tell you. Bye-bye. So this kind of approach is more, it works in a lord-serf relationship. Nobody will come to today in the modern world, kick you out of your land, of your house, and say you're gone. There's no contract defending your being here. Don't ask me why. Bye bye. We all expect to be defended, protected by some kind of law. Well, this law does not exist on booking platforms. The law of the booking platforms is the terms and conditions which we signed, of course, not reading them. Years ago, we never looked back, and we start looking back when we are the platform. Another thing which may happen to serfs, I know this is heavy, but that's maybe the best way to explain it. Another thing is shadow banning, which means you still have your account, you are still on the land, but nothing is growing. Like you don't get in bookings, and you don't know why, and you contact the customer support, and they don't know why. Well, probably they don't actually know why, because it's an algorithm deciding, not even a king or a lord. It's not even a person anymore deciding if you get bookings or not. Now you say, yeah, if somebody is kicked out from Airbnb, it's because they did something wrong. This is chilling to say, it's like people working the land, and then a lord comes and cuts the head off of one serf, and the other serfs say, Yeah, he must have done something wrong. Yeah, of course, probably did something wrong. Still, this is scary for you that this can happen. And what if he didn't do something wrong? What if there was a mistake? What if it was a glitch of the algorithm? If you study artificial intelligence, you know that many artificial intelligence systems today give results, but the very engineers build it do not know why. So they are kind of retrofitting it now, and they're going, okay, we need to know why this decision was taken because we need to know, right? But what's happening today is that actually often they don't know. So hosts are serfs working on land and depending on decisions taken by an algorithm. Okay, you may be protected, you may be a property manager, you may say, okay, this happens to small hosts because they don't follow the rules. I'm a property manager, I'm important for them. Well, what happens if a lot of money comes into the space and you have 50 apartments, you think you're a big property manager, and now big property managers actually have 1,000 apartments and you only have 50, and your ratings goes below 4.5 stars out of 5, and you are at risk. You've seen this happening, this message from Airbnb, you are at risk with 4.5. 4.5 is like 9 out of 10. How am I out of at risk? Okay, we know reviews are kind of skewed upwards, so actually I don't want to book a place below 4.5 because it means it's not actually a very good place often. But again, everything we're doing, every business we're building today, it could be a property manager business, it could be a software service business, which depends on an API access. Anyone is at risk. So what we're proposing here is to leave this land of feudalism and build a new land where there's no kings. That's all we're saying. Let's build a rule of law platform where the rules are clear. They are decided by the network. It may sound funny to you, but this is democracy. Democracy is where, in a very difficult way, in a very messy way, we decide the rules, and then the rules are there to decide on every single case. That's what we're building with Trips, simply. We are going from a feudalist system to a democratic system. And of course, people go like, yeah, democracy is messy. Yeah, democracy is messy. But you still prefer democracy than a kingdom, except if you are a king or a lord. If you're a king or a lord, you don't want democracy. But if you are a person which is not in that position, and very few people are in that position, then you do prefer democracy. Yes, it's messy, but you are protected because the rule of law is what is defending you. So that's all we're doing. It's always really hard to explain what we're trying to do with Trips. We're simply trying to build a democracy and a platform which is the rule of law outside of the feudal system. It's like leaving Europe of the Middle Ages and going in, build America in a way. Okay? That's all we're doing. So it's really important. And, the good news is like, it's not only us doing that. We are just one experiment. We are just trying to be the ones who make this real the vacation rental by being the first. But it doesn't matter. This is going to happen. So that's the good news. It is going to happen. The question is only when. And the king is going to kind of change. Maybe the king is going to become like Queen Elizabeth, which is just, it's still important as a symbol, but it has no real power. Okay, enough with that. I'm going too deep into this analogy, but that was a way to tell you, if we stay in this position, we are all in danger. And we can do something today thanks to the blockchain. The blockchain is basically the framework on which we can build our democracy. Yeah, so I wanted to scare you. I hope I did. And I wanted to give you hope. And I hope I did. Bye.